Park Do-hyun stood at the back of the auction hall and watched rich men buy garbage. The Koryo Station scrapyards were famous across the galaxy. Ships came here to die. People came here to pick through the bones. Do-hyun had been one of those people for 3 years now, ever since a bad shipping contract destroyed his business and his reputation. The auction hall smelled like rust and old fuel. 50 buyers sat in plastic chairs, holding numbered paddles, waiting for something worth their money. Most of them were traders like Do-hyun used to be. Some were collectors looking for pre-collapse artifacts. A few were military contractors who never said who they worked for. Do-hyun had 47 credits in his account. That was enough to eat for 2 weeks, or to gamble on something that might change his life. He chose the gamble. He always did. His friend Lee Tae-woo stood next to him, shaking his head. Tae-woo was a thin man with quick eyes. He sold information to anyone who could pay, and he gave advice to Do-hyun for free because they had grown up together on the same station. "You should go home," Tae-woo whispered. "Nothing good ever comes from these auctions." "Something good has to come eventually," Do-hyun said. The auctioneer was a bored woman with gray hair. She read from a screen describing each ship in a flat voice. Lot 1 was a cargo hauler with a cracked hull. It sold for 200 credits. Lot 2 was a passenger shuttle with no engine. It sold for 85 credits. Lot 3, 4, 5, and 6 were similar. Broken ships that would cost more to repair than they were worth. Then came Lot 7. The screen behind the auctioneer showed a strange ship. It was armored, covered in thick plates that looked like scales. The design was old, very old. The classification read, "Pre-collapse era, origin unknown." "This vessel has been in our yards for 11 years, the auctioneer said. "It has been sold 3 times. Each buyer returned it within 1 month. The systems are non-functional. The origin documents are missing. Previous owners reported unusual experiences." Someone in the crowd laughed. "You mean it's cursed?" The auctioneer did not smile. "I mean previous owners reported equipment malfunctions, strange sounds, and accidents. The station takes no responsibility for any events that occur after purchase." The starting price was 500 credits. No one raised a paddle. The auctioneer lowered it to 300, then 200, then 100. Still nothing. 50 credits, she said. "Anyone?" Silence. Tae-woo grabbed Do-hyun's arm. "Don't," the auctioneer sighed. "Final offer. 7 credits. The cost of processing the paperwork. Anyone at all?" Do-hyun raised his paddle. Every head in the room turned to look at him. Some people laughed. Others shook their heads with pity. The auctioneer stared at him for a long moment, then shrugged. "Sold. Lot 7. 7 credits." Tae-woo followed Do-hyun out of the auction hall, talking fast the whole way. "You're insane. You know that? 3 buyers returned that ship. 3. People don't return ships. They'd rather lose money than admit they made a bad purchase. Whatever is wrong with that thing scared them badly enough to give it back." "Maybe they missed something," Do-hyun said. "Missed what?" "It's a dead ship with no working systems. What are you going to do? Push it around and pretend you're flying?" Do-hyun didn't answer. He couldn't explain what he felt. When he saw that ship on the screen, something in his chest got tight. It felt like recognition. It felt like coming home. The ship sat alone at the far end of the yard, surrounded by empty space. Even the other wrecks seemed to lean away from it. Up close, it was bigger than Do-hyun expected, maybe 40 meters long, with that strange armored hull that didn't match any design he knew. The damage on the outside looked bad at first glance, but when Do-hyun looked closer, he noticed something odd. The scorch marks were only on the surface. The actual armor beneath was untouched, almost like the damage was painted on. The entry hatch was stuck. Do-hyun had to hit it 3 times before it opened with a groan. Inside, the ship was dark and cold. Do-hyun turned on his flashlight and walked through corridors that felt too wide, too tall. The design was wrong somehow. The proportions were made for humans, but not for modern humans. For humans who lived differently, moved differently. For humans who lived 800 years ago. He found the bridge after 10 minutes of searching. It was circular, with stations arranged around a central chair. Everything was dead, black screens, silent systems, cold metal. Do-hyun sat in the central chair. It fit him perfectly. "Hello?" he said to the empty room. "Anyone home?" Nothing. He laughed at himself. What did he expect? The ship to answer? He stood up to leave and caught his hand on a jagged piece of metal. Blood welled up from his palm. He cursed and pressed his hand against the nearest console to steady himself. The console lit up. Do-hyun jumped backward. The light spread from the console to the next station, then the next. One by one, every screen on the bridge came alive. The cold air began to warm. He heard a sound like breathing, like the whole ship was taking its first breath in centuries. Text appeared on the central screen. The characters were Korean, but old Korean, the kind Do-hyun had only seen in museums. "Identity confirmation required. Awaiting bloodline verification." More lights. A soft hum filled the air. The chair in the center began to glow. "Bloodline confirmed. Welcome, descendant." Do-hyun's heart was beating so hard he could hear it in his ears. What are you?" The screens flickered. A woman's voice spoke from everywhere at once, old and warm and cracked with static. "I am grandmother. I have been sleeping for a very long time. But I remember you. Not you specifically. Your blood. Your family. I was built for your ancestors, and I have been waiting for their children to return." Every screen on the bridge displayed the same thing. A name in burning white letters. Harang 001. And beneath it, a designation that made Do-hyun's blood run cold. Classification, Sleeper Arc. Contingency vessel. Status, active mission. Pending crew required. 12 current crew, 1 welcome home, child of Earth. Do-hyun stood in the middle of the waking ship, his cut hand still bleeding, and realized that he had not bought a piece of junk. He had bought a secret, a weapon, a promise that humanity had made to itself 800 years ago when they saw darkness coming and decided to prepare. 7 credits. It was the best deal he had ever made. For 3 days, Do-hyun did not leave the ship. He slept in the captain's chair. He ate ration bars from his bag. He talked to grandmother. The AI was damaged. Her memories came in pieces, like a dream that kept breaking apart. Sometimes she spoke clearly, telling Do-hyun about systems and weapons and capabilities that made his head spin. Other times, she drifted, talking to crew members who had been dead for centuries, singing songs in languages that no longer existed. But slowly, piece by piece, Do-hyun learned the truth. The Harang was not just a ship. It was one of 12. 12 sleeper arcs built in secret during humanity's golden age, before the collapse that destroyed civilization and threw the survivors back into darkness. The ships were hidden across the galaxy, disguised as junk, programmed to wait. They would sleep until a descendant of their original crew found them and woke them up. "Why?" Do-hyun asked. "Why hide ships? Why not use them?" Grandmother's voice crackled with static. "Because we saw what was coming. Not immediately, not soon, but eventually. Something from outside, something hungry. We needed to survive long enough to face it, so we hid, we forgot. We became small and quiet and uninteresting, and we built these ships as insurance so that when the time came, we would not be helpless." "What's coming? What did you see?" I don't remember. The files are damaged. I'm sorry, child. I'm so sorry. I was supposed to know. I was supposed to tell you everything. but I'm broken. Do-Yun put his hand on the console. It's okay. We'll figure it out together. On the fourth day, Tae-woo found him. His friend looked like he hadn't slept. His eyes were wide with fear. Do-Hyun, you need to get out of here, now. What's wrong? Union inspectors. A whole team of them. They arrived this morning asking about anomalous energy signatures from the scrapyard. They're checking every ship. They're coming this way. Do-Yun felt cold. How did they know? I don't know. But I did some digging. In the last 10 years, 3 ships matching this design were found across Union space. All 3 were seized by military forces. All 3 finders disappeared. No trials, no records, just gone. Grandmother spoke. They are hunting us. They have always been hunting us. Some want our power, others fear it. You must leave, child. You must find the others. The other ships? The other arcs. We were never meant to be alone. Find them, wake them. Build a fleet. It's the only way. Do-Yun made his decision. Tae-woo, I need one thing from you. I need the name of the best engineer on this station, someone who can keep secrets. Tae-woo stared at him. You're really going to run? In this thing? You don't even know if it can fly. She can fly. She just needs a little help. Tae-woo gave him a name, Kim Yuna. Do-Yun found her in a repair bay on the station's lower levels. She was small, with short black hair and oil stains on her face. She was taking apart an engine that looked expensive. Kim Yuna? Do-Yun said. She didn't look up. I don't do consultations. Go away. I heard you were discharged from Union military for asking questions about pre-collapse technology. Now she looked up. Her eyes were sharp, suspicious. Who told you that? Does it matter? I have something you need to see. It took an hour to convince her to come to the ship. It took 30 seconds for her to fall in love. Yuna walked through the harangue's corridors with her mouth open. She touched the walls, the consoles, the systems that were slowly coming back to life. When she saw the engine core, she actually cried. This is impossible, she whispered. This technology, it's not just old. It's better. Better than anything we have now. The Union's best ships are toys compared to this. Can you fix her? Do-Hyun asked. Fix her? I want to marry her. Yuna wiped her eyes. But you have a problem. The Union is going to find this ship. They're going to take it, and they're going to make you disappear. Then we need to leave before they do. The jump drive is damaged. I can repair it, but I need time. At least 12 hours. You have 6. Yuna stared at him. Then she smiled, a hard, determined smile that made her whole face change. Get me tools, get me parts, and stay out of my way. For 6 hours, Yuna worked miracles. Do-Hyun helped where he could, carrying equipment, holding lights, following her instructions. Grandmother guided them both, her fragmented memory providing hints and suggestions that saved hours of guesswork. The Union inspectors reached the edge of the scrapyard. Tae-woo called with updates every 30 minutes. They're checking Lot 1. They're moving to Lot 3. They have scanners. Do-Hyun, they're going to see the energy signature. You need to go now. Yuna? 20 more minutes, maybe 15 if nothing explodes. Make it 10. The inspectors reached Lot 5. Yuna connected the last cable. Done, maybe, probably. Let's find out. Do-Hyun ran to the bridge. The systems were alive now, screens glowing, panels humming. He sat in the captain's chair and felt the ship respond to his presence. Grandmother, can we fly? I believe so, child. But it has been 800 years. I may be rusty. Then let's shake off the rust. The inspectors reached Lot 6. They saw the strange ship at the end of the yard. They started walking toward it. Do-Hyun activated the engines. The harangue rose from the ground for the first time in centuries. The scrapyard shook. Alarms went off across the station. "This is Union Command," a voice crackled over the radio. "Unknown vessel, you are ordered to power down and submit to inspection. This is not a request." Do-yun turned off the radio. "Grandmother, where do we go?" The screens flickered. A map appeared, a star system on the far edge of known space. "I'm receiving a signal," Grandmother said. "Faint, old, but real. One of my siblings is calling. Harang 07. Her status is distress." "Then that's where we're going." Yuna strapped herself into a station. "Are you sure about this? We're about to become fugitives. The Union doesn't forgive people who run." Do-yun looked at the stars through the bridge viewport. Somewhere out there, other ships were waiting, other secrets, other pieces of humanity's forgotten past. "I spent 3 years picking through garbage," he said, "waiting for something worth fighting for. Now I've found it. I'm not letting go." He pushed the ship forward. The stars blurred. For the first time in 800 years, a sleeper arc flew free. When the Harang dropped out of jump space, Do-yun saw debris stretching across the void like a metal river. Twisted hulls, burned wreckage, the remains of at least 3 ships, torn apart by weapons fire. "Grandmother, where's the signal coming from?" "Scanning. I'm not detecting Harang 07. The signal has stopped, but I'm finding one life sign, very weak. It's coming from a small object at the edge of the debris field." Yuna found it first. "Escape pod, civilian design, power's almost gone." "Bring it in." They pulled the pod into the cargo bay. Do-yun cut the hatch open with a torch and found a young man curled up inside, barely breathing. He was maybe 20 years old, thin, with a face that looked like it had never seen anything hard until very recently. The ship's medical systems worked well enough. Within an hour, the young man was awake, sitting up, drinking water like he had never tasted it before. His name was Choi Sunwoo. He was a pilot on a merchant vessel called the Happy Fortune. 3 days ago, his ship was attacked. "They came out of nowhere," Sunwoo said. His hands were shaking. 6 ships, military grade. They didn't ask for cargo. They didn't want money. They just asked questions. "What questions?" Do-hyun asked. "They wanted to know if we had seen any old ships, pre-collapse ships, ships that didn't match any known design." Sunwoo looked at the floor. "Our captain said no. He was telling the truth. We were just a cargo hauler. We had never seen anything like what they described." "And then?" "And then they killed everyone anyway. Shot the bridge. Blew the engines. I only survived because I was in the cargo hold when the first shots hit. I made it to the escape pod." "I watched them destroy everything," Sunwoo's voice cracked. 40 people. They killed 40 people just because we might have seen something." Yuna and Do-hyun exchanged looks. "These attackers," Yuna said. "Did they have any markings? Any identification?" "Their ships were black. No flags. No names. But their leader... I heard him on the radio before they jammed our signals. He called himself a purifier. He said they were cleansing the galaxy of heretical technology." Grandmother spoke from the ship's speakers. "The orthodoxy. I remember them now. They existed even before the collapse. They believed that certain technologies were wrong, unnatural. They tried to destroy my siblings before we were hidden. It seems they are still trying." Do-yun felt anger building in his chest. "They killed 40 innocent people looking for ships like ours. They will kill many more. They are afraid of what we represent. They believe that if humanity recovers its old power, something terrible will happen. They think they are saving the world by keeping us weak." "Are they right?" Yuna asked. "About something terrible happening?" Grandmother was silent for a long moment. "I don't know. My memories of the threat are damaged. But I know this. Hiding and destroying technology did not stop the collapse. It did not save humanity. Fear never saves anyone." Sunwoo looked around the bridge. His eyes were red, but his jaw was tight. "What is this ship? What are you people?" Do-Yun told him. About the auction, about the 7 credits, about the sleeper arcs and the bloodline verification and the mission that had waited 800 years to begin. When he finished, Sunwoo was quiet for a long time. "I want to help," the young man said finally. "I don't have anywhere else to go, and I want to find the people who killed my crew." "This ship needs a pilot," Grandmother said. "I have watched how you move, how you think. You have a gift. With training, you could fly me better than anyone alive." Sunwoo looked at Do-Yun. "Is she serious?" "She's always serious, usually cryptic, but always serious." Before Sunwoo could answer, every alarm on the bridge went off at once. A ship appeared from behind a large piece of debris. It was small, fast, and completely black. It made no attempt to communicate. It simply pointed its weapons at the Rang and fired. Grandmother's shields took the first hit, the second, the third. "Return fire!" Do-Yun shouted. "I can't. My weapon systems require a crew of at least 4. With only you and Yuna, and now Sunwoo, I can only operate defenses." "Then get us out of here." "The jump drive needs 15 minutes to charge." Yuna was working frantically at her console. "Their weapons are cutting through our shields. We have maybe 5 minutes before they breach the hull." The black ship came around for another pass. Do-Yun could see it now. Fast, agile, built for hunting. Built for killing ships exactly like his. Then something strange happened. Another ship appeared. It was larger than the Hunter, silver and graceful, with a design Do-Hyun didn't recognize. It placed itself between the Hwarang and the attacker. Its weapons fired once, twice, and the black ship exploded in a flash of light. The silver ship turned toward them. A communication request appeared on the screen. Do-Hyun accepted it. A woman's face appeared. She was maybe 50, with gray streaks in her black hair and eyes that looked far older than her face. She smiled, but it was a sad smile, full of memories. "Park Do-Hyun," she said. "I've been looking for you. My name is Han Ji-soo, and we need to talk about those ships you're trying to find." "How do you know my name? How do you know about the ships?" Ji-soo held up her right hand. There was a scar on her palm, a straight line, just like the one on Do-Hyun's hand where he had cut himself on the console. "Because I've been looking for them for 40 years, because I was supposed to be on one of them. And because I'm the only person alive who knows where they're hidden." She lowered her hand. Her sad smile deepened. "I've been waiting a very long time for someone like you to wake up. We have a lot of work to do, and not much time to do it." The silver ship moved alongside the Hwarang. 2 survivors, 1 ancient ship, and a woman with impossible knowledge. The hunt for humanity's lost fleet had truly begun. Jisoo's ship was called the Wanderer. She had built it herself over 30 years, using pieces of technology she found scattered across the galaxy. It was not a sleeper arc, but it was fast and well-armed, and it had kept her alive through 4 decades of searching. She came aboard the Hwarang alone. She walked through the corridors slowly, touching the walls like someone visiting an old friend's grave. "I remember this design," she said softly. "I was 7 years old when I last saw it." Do-Yun watched her carefully. "You said you were supposed to be on one of these ships. What did you mean?" Jisoo sat down on a bench in the corridor. She looked tired, more tired than anyone Do-Yun had ever seen. "I was a passenger on Hwarang 01, this ship, your ship. I was in cryogenic sleep with my family and 2,000 other people. We were supposed to sleep for 50 years while the collapse happened, then wake up and help rebuild. But something went wrong with my pod. I woke up early, alone. I was 7 years old on a ship I couldn't control, surrounded by pods full of people who wouldn't wake up no matter how hard I screamed." Grandmother's voice came through the speakers, soft and broken. "I remember you, little one." You cried for 37 days, then you stopped crying and started learning. Jisoo smiled, but tears were running down her face. Hello, grandmother. I missed you. The others in the pods, Yuna asked. What happened to them? They died. The power systems were failing. I had to make a choice, save myself or stay with them until we all ran out of air. Grandmother helped me reach an escape shuttle. She put herself into deep hibernation to preserve what power remained. And I drifted. For how long? 3 years. Until a salvage ship found me. A little girl alone in space, speaking a language no one understood anymore. The collapse had happened while I slept. Everything I knew was gone. Sunwoo shook his head. That was 800 years ago. How are you still alive? The cryogenic process changed me. I age slowly. Very slowly. I've watched civilizations rise and fall. I've seen humanity forget everything it used to be. And I've spent every year searching for the other arcs, hoping to undo some of the damage. She stood up and faced Do-hyun directly. I know where 5 more arcs are hidden. I've tracked them across the galaxy, but I could never wake them up. The ships are keyed to specific bloodlines, and I'm not the right blood. You are. Why me? Because you're descended from the crew. Not directly. Those lines ended long ago. But somewhere in your ancestry, someone carried the right genes. The ships are looking for those genes. That's why the Hwarang responded to your blood. Do-hyun felt the weight of it settling on his shoulders. So I need to find these ships and wake them up. Yes, before the orthodoxy destroys them. Before the Union captures them. And before... She stopped. Her face went pale. Before what? Yuna asked. Before what's coming arrives. My parents built these ships because they detected something. Something approaching from outside the galaxy. Something that would arrive in roughly 1,000 years. Jisoo's voice was barely a whisper. That was 800 years ago. They found Hwarang Dero 3 inside an asteroid. A family had been living there for 6 generations, descendants of the original crew. They had guarded the ship without understanding what it was, passing down the duty from parent to child. When Do-hyun placed his hand on the console and the ship woke up, the family's elder fell to his knees and wept. We always knew, he said. We always believed someone would come. Hwarang 03 joined the fleet. They found Hwarang 009 drifting in a nebula. Its AI was intact, a personality called Uncle, but he was broken in a different way than grandmother. He was not confused. He was sad. His crew had survived the collapse, lived full lives, grown old, and died one by one waiting for rescue that never came. He had watched them all die. I recorded everything, Uncle said. Every birthday, every wedding, every funeral. I was their home for 200 years. And then I was alone. You're not alone anymore, Do-hyun told him. Hwarang 009 joined the fleet. 3 ships, 57 people. It wasn't an army, but it was a beginning. Then the orthodoxy found them. The attack came at the rendezvous point, a dead system with no planets and no stations. 20 black ships dropped out of jump space and opened fire immediately. The battle was chaos. Do-hyun shouted commands while grandmother coordinated with Uncle and the AI of Hwarang 003. Yuna kept the engines running. Sunwoo flew like he was born in space, dodging attacks that should have killed them. The arcs were powerful. Their weapons tore through orthodoxy ships like paper, but there were too many enemies coming from every direction at once. They're targeting Hwarang 03, Uncle shouted. The family ship. Do-hyun saw it happening. 4 black ships converging on the smallest arc. The family inside, children, elders, people who had never fought anyone in their lives. Cover them! Get between them and the attackers! They tried. They weren't fast enough. Hwarang 03 exploded. The blast lit up the void like a new sun. Do-hyun felt it in his chest, felt grandmother cry out through the ship's systems, felt something break that could never be repaired. Then the rage came. Grandmother's voice changed. It became cold, hard, ancient. Full weapons release, all systems. Every gun on the harangue fired at once. Uncle did the same. In 60 seconds, every orthodoxy ship was burning. The battle was over. The enemy was destroyed. But Harangue 003 was gone. The family was gone. 6 generations of faith ended in a flash of light. Do-hyun sat in the captain's chair, staring at the debris. Yuna was crying. Sunwoo was shaking. Even Jisoo, who had seen so much death in her 800 years, looked broken. "We need to find the others," grandmother said quietly. "We need to finish this. We need to make their deaths mean something." Jisoo wiped her eyes. "There's one more place we need to go. Earth, the home world. That's where the command ship is hidden. Harangue 000, the heart of everything my parents built. The orthodoxy will follow us," Yuna said. "Yes, but so will anyone else who wants the power of the Arcs. This ends at Earth, one way or another." Do-hyun looked at the stars. Somewhere out there, humanity's birthplace was waiting. The final ship. The final answer. "Then let's go home," he said. The fleet turned toward Earth. Do-hyun had seen pictures of it from before the collapse. Blue oceans, green continents, white clouds swirling over a living world. What he saw now was brown and gray, wrapped in poisonous clouds, scarred by impacts that had burned away everything beautiful. "The wars," Jisoo said quietly. "The final wars before the collapse. They didn't just destroy civilization. They nearly destroyed the planet itself." "Anyone still live down there?" Sunwoo asked. "Survivors, scattered tribes in the ruins. They've forgotten everything. They don't even know they're on humanity's homeworld. They think the stars are just lights in the sky." Grandmother spoke. "I'm detecting the signal. Harangue 000 is beneath the surface, in a chamber under what used to be a mountain. The entrance is hidden." "Then let's find it." They descended through the poisonous atmosphere, 2 battered arcs carrying the last hope of a forgotten civilization. The surface was worse up close. Dead forests, empty cities, bones of buildings that had once touched the sky. The entrance was exactly where grandmother said it would be, a crack in a mountainside that opened into a vast underground chamber. And there, sitting in the darkness like a sleeping god, was Harangue 0. It was huge, bigger than the other arcs combined. Its hull was smooth and perfect, untouched by time. Do-hyun approached the command console. He knew what to do now. He cut his palm and pressed it against the cold metal. Nothing happened. "Grandmother, why isn't it waking up?" I don't know. The bloodline should work. Unless..." A new voice filled the chamber. Not an AI. A human voice. Deep and calm and very, very old. "Unless someone else got here first." Lights came on throughout the chamber. Do-hyun saw them now. Hundreds of people in black uniforms surrounding the fleet, weapons raised, and in front of them stood a man with white hair and eyes that had seen too much. "My name is Baek Junho," the man said. "I am the High Purifier of the Orthodoxy. And I am not your enemy." Yuna raised her weapon. "You killed 40 innocent people looking for us. You destroyed Harangue 003. You murdered an entire family. I know, and I have hated every death. But you don't understand what you're doing. You don't understand what these ships really are." Junho walked toward them slowly, hands raised and empty. "I've studied the pre-collapse archives my entire life. I know why the arcs were built. I know about the threat from outside the galaxy. And I know something that your precious AIs have forgotten. The threat isn't coming because of nature or chance. It's coming because of us." Do-hyun kept his hand on the console. "What do you mean?" "The golden age of humanity wasn't just about exploration and technology. We reached out into the universe. We sent signals. We announced ourselves to anyone who might be listening. And something answered. Something old and hungry and patient. It began moving toward us 800 years ago. It will arrive within 200 years. Maybe less. Junho's voice cracked. The collapse wasn't an accident. It was a desperate attempt to make humanity invisible again, to destroy our technology, erase our signals, make us small and quiet and uninteresting. The orthodoxy exists to maintain that silence, because if we wake up, if we become loud again, if we draw attention to ourselves, it won't just be humanity that dies. It will be everything. Silence filled the chamber. So your answer is to stay weak forever? Jisoo stepped forward. To destroy the tools our ancestors built? To hide in the dark and hope the monster doesn't find us? Yes, because hiding works. 800 years and the threat hasn't arrived. 800 years of silence and we're still alive. If you activate that ship, if you send out a beacon saying humanity is here, humanity remembers, humanity is not afraid, you doom us all. Do-hyun looked at his hand on the console. He looked at his crew. He looked at Jisoo, who had waited 800 years for this moment. You might be right, he said finally. The threat might find us. We might die. Humanity might end. He pressed harder against the console. But we're going to die anyway, aren't we? You said it yourself. The thing is already coming. Hiding for another 200 years won't change that. It will just mean we face it weak instead of strong. It will mean our ancestors died for nothing. It will mean we stayed in the dark when we could have lit a fire. Junho's face twisted with pain. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. You're afraid. I'm afraid too. But my ancestors didn't build these ships because they thought they could hide forever. They built them because they knew hiding was temporary. They built them so that when the time came, we would have something to fight with. Do-hyun's blood seeped into the console. The ship began to hum. They didn't hide us because they thought we were weak. They hid us so we could grow strong. And now it's time to stop hiding. Hwarang 000 woke up. Light blazed through the chamber. Every screen, every system, every weapon came alive at once. The ship's AI spoke for the first time in 800 years, a voice like thunder and starlight. Command vessel online, beacon ready, awaiting authorization. Junho fell to his knees. Please, don't do this. Please. Do-hyun looked at his crew one last time. Yuna, who had risked everything for a ship she loved. Sunwoo, who had lost everything and chosen to fight anyway. Jisoo, who had waited 800 years for someone to stand beside. I spent 3 years picking through garbage, Do-hyun said, scavenging scraps of what humanity used to be. I bought this ship for 7 credits because no one else wanted it, because everyone else was afraid of what it meant. He turned to face the great ship, the heart of humanity's final hope. I'm not afraid anymore. Send the beacon. The Hwarang 00 fired a signal into space, a pulse of light that spread across the galaxy, reaching every hidden arc, every forgotten world, every human who had ever looked at the stars and wondered if there was more. The message was simple. We are here. We remember. We are not afraid. Across the galaxy, sleeper arcs began to wake, dozens of them, ships that had waited centuries for this moment, their AIs stirring from long dreams, their systems coming alive with ancient purpose. And somewhere, in the void between galaxies, something vast and patient turned its attention toward a small, spiral arm where a young species had just done something unexpected. They had remembered who they were. They had chosen to face the darkness instead of hiding from it. They had lit a fire. Junho watched the screens with tears streaming down his face. What have you done? Do-hyun smiled. It was a tired smile, but it was real. I bought a ship for 7 credits. And now I'm going to find out if it was worth it. The fleet rose from Earth's ruins. The beacon kept pulsing. And humanity, for the first time in 800 years, looked toward the stars not with fear, but with hope. This was not the end of the story. It was the beginning.